What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm in my mom's Mercedes E320, and this car has not been washed in like 3 years, I'd say. The paint is in pretty rough shape, and I'll show you guys today how to take a car from looking like this.
And I've been chilling, watching the ocean with you, baby, up with a slow motion crew, and we up in our clouds when people change, but not us, and we just chilling, kicking it, kissed by the sun, could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey, and I don't need to speak a single word, cause you got me holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it, and I don't need to speak a single word, cause you got me
To basically making it look like it just came out of the factory, and if not better. So in order to really transform this car, we're gonna follow 5 simple, super easy steps. Now, so this video is not like an hour long. I'm gonna make this into a full detailing series. And in this video, we'll be focusing on washing your car properly, so that way when it comes time for you to polish and get that paint looking really good once again, you don't have a bunch of dirt that's gonna cause more scratches down the line. And also, washing your car is gonna make a huge difference right off the bat if you don't have the time to do the paint correction. And step number 1 is going to be the pre-detail inspection. And this step is crucial because if you don't know what's wrong with your paint, you could really damage it when you're not paying attention. For example, if you have a rock chip that's starting to flake off and you don't notice it before you pressure wash, you could easily just cause a huge chip in the paint that you can't really fix without having to paint over it again. Or if you have a spot of rust where the paint is flaking, you can just easily take all that paint away, and you don't want to cause more damage than what you already have. As you can already tell from these clips, there's a lot of watermarks over the whole paint basically, and underneath that layer of dust, there's a whole lot of scratches and swirl marks that have to be taken care of. In that clip here, you'll see there is a huge spot of rust, and we want to make sure when we're pressure washing that we don't come near it with a lot of pressure and just do it really carefully, because in areas like this that are very sensitive to pressure, it could easily just come right off, and then you'll have a disaster on your hands that you'll have to fix later, which you don't want. So before we get started, let's go over the stuff that we're going to use. There's obviously a bunch of stuff here, but don't forget, we're also doing the interior as well at some point, probably a part 2. So this is going to be everything you'll need for both the exterior and the interior. So let's start off with the things you'll need for a wash. So you'll need a bunch of microfiber towels, a wash mitt. This is a sponge with a microfiber front, and then the back is the it's more like a fabric to remove the bugs. And then you'll need a soft bristle brush to get into the tiny little areas. I have here my power washer as well. I've been using this for like 4 years. It's actually the same bottle that I bought like 4 years ago. I haven't had to get another one, and it's the Turtle Wax Zip Wax. It's a car wax and wash, which might not necessarily be the best thing today because we're trying to get everything off of the paint, but from my experience, it works very well, cleans up the car, and it doesn't leave too much of a residue on the paint itself. And then I have here Goo Gone as well, which is good if we come across something that we can actually just remove by washing the car. And I have here some rim cleaner. It's by Simone's, and then Back to Black Mother's Tire Shine. And then for the polishing step, we have our polisher. We have a bunch of pads, one for the cutting compound, one for the polish, and then one for the finishing part as well. And then for more on the interior, we have here the oil lift, which I used in my last detailing video, and this stuff is amazing. I don't know how they made it, but it works really well. And we also have here Mother's aluminum and metal polish, because the car has some chrome pieces, which is going to be good to get those all nice and shiny again. And then for the leather interior, we have here Meguiar's Gold Class Rich Leather. I know there's a few things missing as well. We're missing all the polish stuff, all the polish compounds and the cutting compounds, but that's because I left them at the garage. I don't actually have them here, and I also forgot the shop vac at the garage. So once we get there, I'm going to show you guys the rest of the stuff, but for now, we're going to wash it here because we don't have water at the garage. So let's get started. Alright, so now that we've rinsed the car, let's move on to the wheels. And for that, we will need this. I like to always tackle the wheels first because they're the dirtiest part of the car. And if you just clean that, the car is going to look a lot better anyway. So that's the first thing I like to take care of. Washing your wheels is actually very simple. There isn't really much to it. All you need to do is make sure you have a product that's not too acidic and is safe on your wheels. Spray a good amount of that on your wheels to loosen up all the caked on dirt and brake dust. Let it sit for a couple minutes, but don't let it dry. Then come back with your brush, agitate it to remove the rest of the stubborn dirt, and you're ready to rinse it by either just using your pressure washer or your good old garden hose. Just look at how clean that looks now. I just let the product sit on there for a couple of minutes, came back and scrubbed it, and the color of the wheels look absolutely incredible. They're super silvery now and shiny, but you'll notice all these black spots in the middle there. That's not from the product and that's not dirt still on there. That's just the clear coat flaking off over the years, because these wheels are super old, right? And they haven't really been very well maintained. So that's just all the clear coat flaking off, so that will need to be fixed later. Remember when I said earlier that I haven't really used this product before? Well, after trying it out, I can confidently say that this product is actually really good and it works very well, because I've tried a lot of products before, and on wheels that are not even as dirty as this one, they did not even do anything. It was very hard to clean off, but this product actually did a very good job, and I was actually very impressed at how the results came out. But look at how clean the rims are. Now that we have the wheels all cleaned up, let's move on to washing the car. And like I said, I don't wash the car like a lot of people do, just with 2 buckets. The way I do it is I'm constantly soaking the car with either the hose or the pressure washer with low pressure at first. Luckily, the pressure washer that I have, I can mix in soap with the water coming out. So I put in some car soap in that little bottle. And when I was doing the wheels, I would stop for a little bit and go to rinse the car again. That way I'm constantly moving the loose dirt off of the car, and I'm always spraying from the top to the bottom. That way the dirt just runs down the car, and that way when it comes time to actually hand wash the car, 90% of the dirt is already off, and it makes the cleaning process just so much easier on the paint. That way there's no scratches. And as you can tell here, there's a lot of the times where I'm just soaking the car constantly with soap for that same reason. And at the end of the video, I will show you guys what I mean by how effective this strategy actually is by showing you guys the bucket that I used, even though I only use 1 bucket, but it still worked out very well. Now when you're hand washing your car, whether you're using a mitt or a sponge, whatever you're using, you want to make sure that you don't apply a lot of pressure, because if you do and there's a little bit of dirt between the paint and your microfiber towel or your microfiber sponge, you can actually introduce a lot of new scratches that are just unnecessary and could be totally avoided into the paint, and you'll have to take care of that later when you're polishing. But you don't want to rely on polishing to remove all the scratches and defects, because polishing is permanent and you'll actually be taking a lot of that clear coat thickness off that you just can't bring back. You'll have to repaint it, right? Whenever you're washing your car, you want to be as safe as possible, because polishing doesn't really fix everything all the time. And one thing I noticed by watching a lot of these detailing videos and car washing videos is that whenever they're using their pressure washer or their hose, their main goal is just to remove the soap. But what I really like to do is focus on each inch of the car while I'm moving the pressure washer along, to make sure that I focus the pressure on the dirt and the stubborn dirt spots on the paint, so that way I'm just not washing the soap for no reason. I'm making sure that I clean as I wash it off. And if you haven't been doing this already, you always want to start from the top to the bottom, because the top of your car always has a lot less dirt than the bottom. And if you start off at the bottom, you're going to actually move all that dirt to the top when you don't really have to. So just always start at the top and move your way down the car. And look at this, look how deep the blue looks now, look how shiny it is. And that's only from a quick wash. I didn't have to do any polishing yet, I didn't have to do any paint correction yet, that's only from a really good wash. And remember that really bad rust spot I mentioned earlier? Well, when I was pressure washing, I wanted to make sure that I was very careful with the pressure going around the wheel well, because if I accidentally hit it with pressure, I can guarantee you the paint was just gonna go flying right off the car, and I did not really want to have to deal with that. So if you do have a similar problem on your car when you're washing it, just make sure that you avoid it with the pressure and just let the water running down do all the work for you. And that's really it for washing your car. You don't really have to worry about having 17 different buckets and cleaning them up a million times, as long as you make sure that you wash the dirt off constantly and keep the car wet and the water dripping down the car so the dirt is always moving and not just there. So that way when it comes time to actually hand wash your car, you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about the dirt causing any new scratches or anything, and the car will come out looking absolutely amazing, and you're almost going to have no new scratches introduced into the paint. As long as you follow side to side movement, no circular motion, none of that, you will be okay, and the car is going to look absolutely amazing just doing a simple wash. Now take a look at the bucket right here. The water is still very green. There's barely any dust or dirt at the bottom of the bucket, and this is the same bucket of water used to wash the whole car. And that just comes to show you that by washing and rinsing the car constantly and having the water run down and pull the dirt right with it, you don't really need to change the bucket so many times, and you don't need two different buckets. I'll let the bucket here speak for itself. The water is not brown, the water is still clear, and there's barely any dirt at the bottom. And now that the car is super clean, I'll see you guys in the next video where I'll show you how to remove all the scratches and swirl marks from your car. And really then the car is gonna look like it's just came out of the factory and it's ready to be a show car.